They say words hold power. They lie. The loudest voice rarely wins. Silence, it does. It's not empty, it's a vacuum. A space that forces others to spill, to stumble, to reveal themselves. Ever noticed how people talk to fill a void? How they rush, overcompensate, try to impress, try to dominate? That's their weakness. And you, if you learn to pause, to withhold, to let the world chase your quiet, you see what others miss. You hear what others hide. Power respects what it cannot control. It fears the calm, the still, the unspoken. And when you master silence, you're no longer part of their game. You're watching it unfold from the shadows where they can't touch you.
Humans are wired to react to absence, to silence, to empty spaces. We hate uncertainty. We crave answers, even if they're wrong. That's why a quiet person holds power most never see. When someone speaks less, the mind of the listener races. What aren't they saying? What are they hiding? Every pause becomes a question. Every hesitation is a secret. Our brains are built to fill gaps. Stories, assumptions, projections, our imagination runs wild. And when someone stays silent, the other person unknowingly hands over their own thoughts, their own fears, their own intentions. Think about it. When a conversation grows tense, who dominates? Often it's the one who doesn't speak first. Words are tools, yes, but they are also chains. They tie you to meaning, expectation, perception. Silence? Silence is freedom. Silence is the weapon the loud never recognize. We are trained from childhood to talk, to justify, to explain, to be seen, to be heard. But the quiet? They watch, they calculate, they wait. And in that waiting, they see the patterns no one else notices. The gestures, the slips, the micro signals we all leave behind. Every society, every culture has heroes of words, orators, talkers, entertainers. Yet history is written by the patient, by those who observe, by those who know when to act, when to pause. Power does not bow to noise. It bows to precision, to observation, to subtlety. And here's the hidden truth. Most people will never understand this. They fill their days with chatter, with explanations, with useless noise. Meanwhile, the quiet one is a step ahead, always. Not because they speak less, but because they know what speech costs, what it reveals, and what it hides. Silence is not absence. Silence is control. And those who master it, they shape reality around them, even when no one is watching.
Most people believe talking shows strength. They think loudness is power. They're wrong, dead wrong. Have you noticed how the loudest person in the room often trembles behind the words? They're trying to convince themselves first, before anyone else. Confidence isn't measured by volume. It's measured by control, by knowing when to speak and when to remain invisible. Ever watched someone over-explain? Every extra sentence, every justification, every "trust me" is a confession in disguise. They're revealing what they're trying hardest to hide. And while they ramble, the quiet observer notices it all. Think about power in history. Who really shaped outcomes? The general shouting orders, or the strategist silent in the corner, calculating the moves that decide lives? The answer is obvious, but society celebrates the noise, not the stillness. We're taught that words equal action, that explanation equals truth. Yet the quiet know a secret everyone else ignores. Words are cheap. Silence is priceless. People also assume that silence is weakness. They misread calm for fear. They misinterpret pause for confusion. But the truth, the calm is dominance. The pause is strategy. And when silence meets impatience, chaos blooms around it. Here's the part most never see. Those who speak less often control more, not by coercion, not by threats, but by letting others stumble into their own traps, by letting them reveal intentions, desires, weaknesses without ever being asked. Every assumption you hold about power, question it. Every rule about influence, flip it. Because while the world celebrates noise, the quiet quietly claim victory. They see the patterns, they exploit the gaps, they bend perception without ever raising their voice. So next time someone tells you to speak up or assert yourself, pause. Ask yourself, Are they trying to control the conversation, or are you? Most never realize it, but the quiet have already decided. And the loud, they're playing a game they can't even see.
Notice how most people are still talking, spilling everything they shouldn't. Meanwhile, you're seeing the gaps they leave, the secrets they reveal without knowing. That's the advantage the quiet always have. If you're noticing what others miss, you're already ahead. Stick with me, because what comes next will show exactly how silence bends power in the real world.
Power doesn't ask, it observes, it waits, it moves silently, like a shadow across a room. The person who dominates a conversation rarely raises their voice. They use timing, posture, gaze. Every action is calculated, every pause a message. Imagine a boardroom, a meeting filled with chatter, arguments, and attempts to impress. The loudest voices think they lead. They push, they jab, they argue. Then there's the quiet one. They lean back, hands folded, eyes scanning. Not a word wasted. Every sentence they speak lands like a hammer, precise, undeniable. Others will remember it. Others will follow it. Not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. Dominance shows itself in subtle behaviors, a tilt of the head, a deliberate pause before responding, watching reactions, testing boundaries. People reveal more than they realize when they think they control the conversation. The quiet observer records it all, uses it all, and slowly, imperceptibly, shapes decisions, opinions, even allegiances. Power dynamics aren't just words, they're movement. A door opens slightly, a glance held too long, a silence left hanging. These tiny acts accumulate into control, into influence. People underestimate how small actions can command obedience. Even outside rooms and offices, the principle holds. In social circles, relationships, negotiations, control belongs to the one who observes most, speaks least. The loud, the impulsive, the reactive, they burn themselves out, exposing vulnerabilities.
The quiet knows this. They exploit it without malice, without spectacle. Because dominance is not about force, it's about perception, about timing, about letting others reveal their hand while staying unseen. Remember this, the world rewards action, but it respects strategy, and strategy is built in silence. Every whisper ignored, every gesture noted, every pause timed perfectly, that's the currency of influence. The quiet don't need to convince anyone. They need only to wait. And when the moment comes, the game has already been won. True power lives in perception, not in loud declarations, not in empty threats. It's in how others see you, even when you say nothing. The human brain craves patterns, order, predictability. When someone acts with calm certainty, we instinctively follow. We interpret confidence as competence, silence as control. This is why the quiet often appears smarter, stronger, untouchable, without ever needing to prove it. Authority is subtle. It doesn't shout, it suggests. A tilt of the chin, a steady gaze, a measured response. These small cues trigger respect without demand. People hand over power willingly when they believe it belongs elsewhere, and the quiet know how to make them believe. Intelligence isn't just knowledge, it's anticipation, reading intentions before they're spoken. It's predicting reactions, spotting contradictions, noticing what others overlook. The mind that observes more than it talks builds influence silently, and influence, once established, shapes outcomes effortlessly. Every interaction carries hidden signals. A pause can reveal doubt. A slight hesitation exposes desire. The quiet mind records it all, labels, categorizes, predicts. They act only when the timing is perfect, when the other person unknowingly steps into a trap of their own making, and most never notice. Here's the hidden rule. People obey what they think is inevitable, not because of strength, nor words, nor aggression, but because of perceived certainty.
The calm, calculated, silent observer embodies inevitability. Others bend without realizing it. Even subtle gestures matter. A casual comment can seed doubt. A knowing glance can shift loyalty. Dominance is a performance without spectacle. It's invisible yet undeniable. Every micro-action compounds into influence. Every silence speaks louder than words. And while the world applauds noise, excitement, and action, the quiet mind orchestrates reality from behind the curtain. Invisible, unseen, yet entirely in control.
Power is seductive. Silence, control, influence, they feel clean, precise, untouchable. But every shadow hides risk. Every unspoken word carries weight. The quiet observer can become invisible, but invisibility is a trap. People notice absence. They assume deception. They project paranoia. If misused, silence breeds suspicion, fear, resentment, even retaliation. Manipulation is a double-edged sword. You can shape reality without speaking, but others can shape you just as easily. One misread signal, one poorly timed pause. What was meant to command respect becomes an invitation for conflict. Deception works best when subtle, yet the subtle mind carries constant vigilance, constant calculation. Exhaustion creeps in, isolation follows. Influence can be intoxicating, but it can also erode connection, empathy, trust. Look around. Notice the people who dominate silently. They may control outcomes, but often at a cost unseen. Every strategy has consequences. Every mind manipulated carries echoes that return, unpredictable, unavoidable. The world punishes mistakes quietly. A single misstep in timing, perception, or gesture can unravel authority in moments. And unlike the loud, whose failures are obvious, the quiet falls silently. Their power disappears unnoticed until it's too late. Even history's great strategists, the masters of patience and observation, paid the price. Paranoia, isolation, betrayal. The darker side of mastery waits for those who forget that power is fragile. The quiet mind must balance vigilance with humanity, influence with ethics, observation with restraint. Fail in any, and silence turns against you. Your own weapons become the chains that bind. This is the paradox of dominance. To control others, you must first control yourself. To wield silence, you must never become a slave to it. And yet most never see this. They chase influence blindly, thinking power is simple. But every move in the shadows leaves a trace, and every shadow has its risks. Remember this. Power without awareness is a dangerous game. Silence is potent, but potent things can also destroy.
The loud will always fight for attention. They will scream, explain, justify. But the quiet already holds the map. They move unseen, unnoticed, unstoppable. Silence is not weakness. It is a weapon, a shield, a compass. It lets you read the room, predict outcomes, bend perception. And those who master it, they are never at the mercy of others. They decide when, where, and how the game is played. Every conversation, every interaction, every glance carries weight. The quiet know it, the loud never realize it. And while others chase validation through words, the observant create reality in their shadow. If you've been noticing what others miss, if you see patterns they cannot, you are already ahead. Use it wisely. Pause more, observe more, speak less. Power respects silence, not noise. And those who understand this, they are untouchable. If you want more insights that reveal the hidden rules of influence and control, stick around. Because the quiet never tell you everything, but here you'll learn what they don't want you to see.